Read and react quick to make an early diagnosis. Hit you with the quick release like Marino Danny dopeness. Explosive change of direction in the true essence of Reggie Bush. From JT and ZT to DVP and AVG. Terminator to a quarterback Hunter JP. Steve Ross, the boss, King Flow, and card slinging gambling genius Slick Chris Greer.
Good morning, everyone. I'm sure before I forget, I'm Rob Mosley, aka Dolphins Thirsty. As always, in a minute, you'll be seeing my co-host Justin, aka Digging in the Trenches, who you can find on Twitter at JPF Scout. And make sure you check out Dolphin Thirsty for the latest in Dolphin news. And there's a new Dolphins trivia up there. So make sure you check that out. But anyway, as you can see on the banner, Vic Fangio, most Dolphins fans' number one choice for defensive coordinator that they want the Dolphins to take. He's up there as the interview today. Also, another Deshaun Desai, who we had yesterday as an interview. Supposedly, he's going to be interviewing today as well. And right before I came on, that's why I'm a little behind here, is we got Chris Richard is also going to be a potential interview for the Miami Dolphins, who's currently on the Saint. Hey, good morning, Dolphin Day. And my computer's frozen up, Justin. They're not going to see your beautiful face. So you can talk, Justin, while I try. This banner won't go away no matter what I do. That's the beauty of live TV.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, let's hope.
So what do you think of those? What do you think of those names I gave you?
Like you were saying, that Chris Richard was a guy we had interviewed for the head coaching spot previously, and then we hired Brian Flores. I think Chris Richard's a good coach as well. We talked about Dace already. If he's going to interview today, that's great. Obviously, we're having Vic Fangio in the building to interview today is a huge deal for the Miami Dolphins. This is your chance to make that presentation to him why the Dolphins is the best team for him to sign with. Obviously, that we have title hopes, that we want to win a Super Bowl, maybe even more than one of them. And we want him to be the catalyst of the defense behind that. I would think it'd be something they need to go ahead and go full court press. We want Vic. Let's do everything we got to do to get him in the building. And then don't let him leave. Make him an offer. Make him an offer he can't refuse.
I know, but if they really do have Chris Richard, they may not do that just because. But Fangio is probably going to want to interview. But I agree. That's what me and you were talking about behind stage. I would, if I was the Dolphins, if that's my guy, just get him. Get your, rules out of the way. I hate to say that, but it's just get the rules out of the way and get the guy you want. But then. Ian Rappaport dropped this bomb right before we went live, so I had to make up a banner real quick. That's just all from the top of my head. I didn't do any research on him, so I couldn't even tell you the style of defense he would run if he comes here. I just knew this from what I remembered him interviewing for the Dolphins job, and that he had been a DC with the Seahawks. I know he was on the Cowboys staff when we interviewed him. I think he was more of a defensive backs coach back then with the Cowboys. But that he had a really good reputation is why he was getting other head coaching looks.
Yeah, he's been an assistant defensive coordinator and an assistant and a deep backs coach. He's a former defensive back, so you imagine his system's probably I don't know, because he's never really gotten a chance, so you don't know exactly what his base defenses would be or anything. But just like everybody, he probably runs a hybrid and obviously either a 4-3 or a 3-4. Morning, Dolphin fan. JK, what's up, buddy? But who knows, man? I think they're going to do their due diligence and, like you said, get the rules part out of the way. It stinks. You hate to flat, bold lie to a guy like Dace and be like, thanks for interviewing, but we're going with Vic. But at least you got that. At least he has that on his resume. It's not like you're not helping the young man build up his career still.
Oh, no, you're still helping him. I know it sucks to not get the job if you're thinking you have a good job. But, I mean, the thing is, he's probably a legitimate – because we don't know Vic he's going to be, he's like the kid that gets anything he wants, basically. Any DC job he wants, basically, is Vic Fangio to get. So he's almost interviewing the teams. He's going to say, let's see.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, he's going to see if he likes the owner, if he likes the general manager, if he likes the head coach, looks at the players on the staff and say, oh, I can win with these guys. Oh, I can get someone better. He's going to do that with all the teams. So because every team's going to want him. I mean, let's face it. You don't have that kind of experience come to your door every so often. I mean, he's been the defensive coordinator, I think, since 1995. I went in my research, so no one's going to outrank. And his last stint as defensive coordinator, the Bears were the number one defense in 2018, which
absolutely
Broncos' job. And every year he was there, the Broncos were never great, but their defense always was within the top 10 or so. They had a decent defense under him. So, but he was a head coach, so that's not all on him. But I was reading real quick. During the lean years of Fangio as a head coach there, his defensive rankings were okay. So.
No, they were great. If you remember, they had Khalil Mack was a Bear, and then they shipped him out of town around that same time.
Yeah.
Obviously, it didn't jive with Fangio, but he brought in linebackers that worked for him. I know one thing about the dude system is you got to have linebackers, and they got to be pretty much matching. Your insides need to have the same game as the other one that's standing next to you, and your two outside linebackers obviously need to have a little bit of matching games as well as your. If you want your ends and all that stuff to match up. Obviously, you're running more of a 3-4 base in his style, which gives you a lot of variety. Like Sean Williams is telling me about the 4-3, how it's the most used base defense in the NFL because it's the easiest,
right?
And the easiest to learn. You get a lot of good production out of it, but there's more variety and more scheming and more trickery with a 3-4 defense because you can just do more things with it. So who knows what's going to happen.
Defenses are constantly in the top 10 when I've been reading about him, and his last year, like I said, with the Bears, he had the number one defense. So he definitely has the resume that you want, and he still wants to coach. I know he's in his mid-60s now, but he's on record saying he wants to coach. He wanted to take the year off. He took the year off. And now he's going to have his pick of the litter, basically. So hopefully the Dolphins present to him well, because we know he's going to. His resume says hire him without him interviewing the guy. He already has that. He's right. Let's more kind of like a formality, getting to know each other kind of.
Sure. I think you're right. I think he's going to be doing the interviewing process. Like, I've already looked at your guys' roster. Now let me meet Mike McDaniels and Chris. If they don't already know each other, like they might already have some sort of a working relationship that we don't know about. Let's hope he came back like rejuvenated, fired up and ready to get coaching again and ready for new experiences in his life and in his coaching career. I'll tell you this much right now. If I was to choose, say, I'll just throw a team out there that I know is interested in his services as well, like the Vikings or the Dolphins. First of all, I look at the defensive, what I have to work with, and the Dolphins have the better defense. If I'm Fangio, I'm picking that first. I'm looking at your roster and be like, oh, I can work with that. Right. You know what I mean? And then I throw this or a couple linebackers in there, and I got exactly what I want. Like, who knows what he sees, but that's what I see.
Right. The only wild card is like if he's really connected with Sean Payton somewhere and Sean Payton goes to a team. But like you say, if Sean Payton's really been linked to the Broncos, he's most of the time a guy that's had a head coach in his city. He doesn't go back to a team to have like a lesser ranked job just because it's, some of those guys are long gone maybe from when, whatever, but it's not that. I just don't see him going back to Denver as a DC. But if he really likes Sean Payton, but that's fine. That may be media speculation. That's just people, they're connected, and
Val Munoz. Yeah, man, I'll be honest. It's crazy. Like, I don't know. I've been hearing some rumors, and I'm here in Colorado, that the Sean Payton thing's not as hot as everybody thinks it is. Okay. That his name's not drawing as much interest as you would think it would be. I think that's piping down a little bit for some reason. I don't think.
I hear he has a really high price tag, so some teams,
I think he's going to go.
I think the Dolphins threw him off the charts last year. He's like, because the Dolphins were going to give him $100 million if the rumors are true. And so if he's asking for that that's like $20 million a year or whatever, or if it's a 5-year contract, and $25 million is a 4-year contract. They said that the Dolphins Ross offered him $100 million on this whole. That's where we got nailed for the tampering and all of that. So that was the nut. So that's probably in his head, like, oh, if they're willing, so other teams are like, hey, we aren't Ross. We're not going to give you $20 million a year, plus have to give up draft picks to go get you. So that you might be right. Maybe his ego was a little too big, thinking he was just going to have any job he wanted. So we'll see.
Yeah, I bet you're right. Like, I wouldn't doubt it, not one bit, man. Like the Dolphins sometimes will overpay for some things and maybe they shouldn't. And maybe the rest of the league is like, hey, well, you want 20, we'll give you 8.
Right.
See, like, I don't know.
In line with what most of the coaches are making and stuff. I mean, the Dolphins
Yeah.
are way over the top to make him say, oh, okay, I won't retire. I'll stay and coach. But that all, as we know, as they say, that the rest is history. We got Nelda Campering. He stayed off this year, but whoever hires him this year still is going to have to compensate the Saints. So
that's right.
So
and we don't have
right.
we don't have comp. So
I know. So I was going to say, so maybe he's not as sexy to some teams as people say.
I think it's wearing off. I think the drunk goggles are coming off right there, and people are starting to sober up off of it and realize, damn, we can't do that. It's going to soak up too much of your cap. I hate to see what the Bengals are going to pay Joe Burrow when he goes to sign up his new deal. It's probably going to be some sort of record like $60 million a season or some crap. And that's the thing that like they got to win before he gets to that deal. See, like that's the whole name of the game. Dolphins are in the same boat. We need to win before we get to Tua's first big contract. And it's coming up, bro. This is his last year.
They're not even in the same class, unfortunately, like now, because Joe Burrow has proven. I mean, he may not have got the big game, but he's been in the Super Bowl and he's in another AFC championship game. So he has a couple more notches.
Oh, he's got a way more notches on his belt than Tua does right now. He's actually staying on the football field as well. You know?
I know. That's the thing. So
a lot of things are working out, too.
He's going to get his money for sure. Tua, I don't even know if we're going to pick up the 5th-year option. We just may gamble and go with him and see what happens. And then if he balls out, then you're going to have to pay the man anyway. And then if he balls out, then you franchise tag him next year or whatever. But if he doesn't, then it's easy to let him go. You don't have a hit. His contract's over. Thank you for his time. And then you find someone else. They may just be running it that way.
I think that's what they're going to do is what you just said right there. They're not going to pick up his 5th-year option. They're going to be like, guess what? Go out there and prove that you can play 15 to 17 games in one season, and then we'll talk about a contract. It's kind of going to be a prove-it year, I would say, for him, like you just said. And if he balls out.
We thought this was going to be the prove-it year, but then he went and got hurt and a whole bunch of things, new coach and this and that. So I think he gets one more year as a prove-it year this year. And the main prove-it is going to be because he's proven to me he can help a team win when he's healthy.
Yeah, just stay on the football field. If you can just stay healthy and get out there and do what you do and be your best ability is your availability, then you know what? Maybe we do have our quarterback. I couldn't tell you right now because I don't know what's going to happen with the kid. I have a feeling they probably won't pick up the option, but it'd be so Dolphins for them to go pick up a friendly team deal option with him and sign him to a 4-year deal. Like I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
So if it did happen and they pick up the option, which what was it, May 24th or something like that?
Yeah.
That they have.
Yeah,
well, if they pick up the option before then, and it's like some 5-year deal for $89 million or whatever, I'm not going to bitch too much because it's going to be a team friendly deal. But I don't know, bro. I don't
think they're even going to commit to the 5th year or any contract. I think
I think you're right.
Your first gut instinct is that they're probably going to make him play this year, his 4th year in the league, and then if he balls out, he's gonna get big bag of money because either he's going to be he's going to have to be franchise tag for another year after that, or the Dolphins are going to have to pay him. Or if he hits the free agent market, some other team's going to give him the big bag. So all he has to do is play well this year, and Tua's going to be taking. Yeah, same. You're right. Both teams are kind of in the same boat. Both teams are improving. We lost our JF scout there for a minute, but
oh no, I'm back. I was just checking. I got my wife's got a dog that's coming here, and she needs me to help carry the dog inside real fast. So it'll take me 2 seconds, though. I'll be real fast.
All right, no problem, man. It's all good.
I was just looking to see if she's here yet, but she ain't here yet.
All right. Oh, okay. So, yes, same as Daniel Jones. Both teams are very similar where they are. They both got into the playoffs this year, but still some questions at the quarterback position. So that's a good reference.
No, it is, Dan. We are kind of in the same spot, but they got a lot of things going on. Garrett, thank you, man. Thanks for joining. Good morning. Listen to you
Yes,
guys every
thank you
single
very
day.
much, Garrett.
Thank you,
you.
man. Appreciate you for being here.
Yeah, you know what that means, oh man. That's his
Oh
first
yeah,
time.
it's time.
It's time, man, for his first time. Every
It's
time we get
time.
someone first time commenter, we got to go a little old school.
Miami
Thank you,
has the
Garrett.
Dolphins,
That is
the
awesome.
greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. We're in the air.
Thank you,
Heck
sir.
yeah.
And
Thank you
thank you
much.
for listening. Make sure if you haven't, make sure you hit that like button and the subscribe button for us, Garrett. Thank you so much. So anyway, like you said, so all the guys, I know from day one you were saying Fangio before you even saw the list of people. So you haven't changed that since you've seen
No.
the list of people that have come out.
No,
Okay.
not at all. That'd be my first choice. If you wanted to go second choice, I think you already know who that would be too. I want Fangio or Lovey Smith. I'm
We haven't seen
down for
Lovey
either
Smith,
or.
so I do not have a banner. So,
Nope.
guys, if you're joining, these are the people that have confirmed interviews for the defense. I'm
Yes,
going to go
sir.
through in the order that they came out where I heard confirmed guys. So it's perfect timing because he's going out for a minute.
Oh, not yet. Not yet.
Oh, okay.
You can keep going though. Do your thing, bro.
Okay. This is the first one that's been a confirmed interview that the Dolphins have requested. So, and he's good too. I like him. He's a student of Fangio. He's worked under Fangio.
Yep.
And runs very much the same, just doesn't have the experience, obviously, as a Fangio, but he basically runs the same schemes. He believes in what Fangio does. That's how he was brought up in football. So that's what you could expect. He's just a younger guy, but to me, he's a good fallback option.
Right? How nice. It would be nice if we could get both of them, man, but that's kind of like being a little too greedy, right?
Yeah. Here's another confirm. He's probably more of a courtesy within the building, and because you want to show coaches there are chances for promotion within your own building. So it's like probably a courtesy interview. But he doesn't have much experience in the pros at all. He's the only team he's ever been on is the Dolphins in the pros. He has prior experience though at Michigan, Boston College, and Rutgers. At Boston College, he was a co-defensive coordinator. So he does have a little bit of being the big man on defense, but never on the pro level. And of course, everyone's fan favorite, including Justin, digging in the trenches. This is what everyone wants and hoping for. Just broke this warning from Adam Schefter that the Dolphins are set to interview him today. And which goes back to say real quick, he supposedly, Rappaport said he's also going to be interviewed today. So they got two guys in the building today that they're going to be interviewing. And then you guys may know this name, Chris Richard. He had previous interviewed for the Dolphins head coaching job, but when they went with Brian Flores, he has prior defensive coordinator experience with the Seahawks. He's currently a co-defensive coordinator with the Saints, and he's their main DB coach. So those are our guys that we know. There's probably other names, but those are the names that have been leaked to the media. So what do you guys think? Comment on what you think.
Oh, you know what I think.
I know what you think. I was just saying anyone here in the room, and if you guys want to join us, let us know. But
absolutely.
Sean, I did read Vegas. That just makes no sense to me, but I don't know why Vegas has the Dolphins as some top odds team for Giants are the top team, and then Dolphins I saw are the number 2 team for a likely landing spot. Maybe that's just because of Miami's history of making the splash and going after big name players. But to me, that would be a bad signing. Just go get yourself a running back. Justin has said there's good running backs in this year's draft that you can draft and not spend a fortune when you need to take care of some of your own guys. It'd be crazy to go after Barkley at a position that's never that paid unless you're the elite of the elite. And he has a history of getting hurt. I don't know, Justin, you may totally disagree with me, but I just don't see that as making any sense.
I don't disagree, not one bit. In fact, in total agreement with you. If you want to get a running back that's like Saquon Barkley or has a similar style, good luck, because there's not a lot of them out there.
Of course, I know you're not
going
to
get. I'll be honest with you. You need to draft something like that. You can't trade for asset like that unless you're literally one player away from unless you had Marino and the Richmond Webb, Sims, and like a great offensive line, and Crash Jensen and Clayton and Duper, and all you needed was the running back then I'm all for it. But we don't have that right now. We are literally trying to figure out where we're going next, even from far as the phases, even your franchise quarterback. We don't know what's happening yet with the guy we drafted number 5 overall to be that player that we wanted. We still don't know. We got question marks in the air. The main one being obviously his health. Can you stay on the football field? A performance thing with Tua, I honestly don't think we have a performance problem. I think more it's along the lines of he's still young, was in the same system. I'm not going to give the kid no more excuses. You got to perform. And he has to stay on the football field. That's it, bottom line. But when it comes to some defensive coordinator stuff, it's just like it's said right out in front of you. The Dossé kid is a student of the game under Fangio. It'd be great to get them both, but that's being too greedy.
Yeah, that's probably being too greedy because he probably would just stay where he is unless, because most of the time you have to go get a promotion. So they would have to give him some kind of title to make it a promotion or whatever. So, well,
they could offer him the defensive coordinator assistant, co-defensive coordinator assistant job, or put some other title to it.
No, Sean, not that I've seen. Not that I've seen. Yet. No breaking news other than those interviews that came across that they're going to be interviewing. But yeah, this is not going to be much breaking news time because the league year hasn't even. The new league year won't start till March. So other than Tom Brady walking around a school that went everyone crazy, so that's
I heard about
everyone. Miami fans are nuts, man. They just they see crazy. Tom Brady. Oh my God,
we're getting Tom Brady.
So, other than that crazy stuff, no, there's no breaking news, So.
And that's not like something that we don't know. That's for a fact. We don't know anything that just because he's in the school doesn't mean squat. That means diddly squat.
Down, he's going to move down here. His kids are down.
I heard they're building.
I heard he's building another wife that lives up in New York. And then he has 2 kids that live down here. I only know this. I'm not a soap opera guy, but I just read all of this because everyone was saying, and then they explained why he was at the school. Some reasonable person wrote an article on why he was at the school, because, you just see the Twitter folks.
Right.
Poor guys at the school trying to learn about his kid's school, and you can see he's listening, and some guys say, Brady, are you coming to the Dolphins?
Are you coming to Miami?
Brady just ignored him at least.
Like,
he didn't F him out like he did on his own podcast show, but that was funny.
Yeah, man. I don't know what's gonna happen with that. Like, as far as I know, is one of his kids picking up a football yet? And you're gonna put him in a uniform because I'd be interested in one of his kids.
Yeah, I know.
Let's see if that kid can play football.
Brady's 40 will be 46 or whatever it is this season. Yeah, so I think he retires, but he may not because he just doesn't. I think he should retire actually, but if he doesn't, who knows? Anything's on the table because, like I said, I don't think from a football perspective the Dolphins would go after him, but he has connections, and if he calls Stephen Ross and says, "Hey, I'd be interested," Stephen Ross may overrule Greer and say, "Hey, we're bringing this guy in" or whatever. So that's the only thing, but I just don't see it as being likely.
If you see the Dolphins, like I was telling you, if you see the Dolphins go out there and start clearing some cap, and a lot of it, you know what I mean, like 30 million or more in cap to get ready for something like that, besides the 30 or 40 million that we need for this season. So like 60 million, something like that. Then I would be like, watch out. They might be thinking something that we're not. It's a possibility. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh man, it's a for sure formality.
No, you never know, especially with Stephen Ross as the owner. You never know. He loves the big splash, and what bigger splash is that going to make
than Tom Brady, right?
I know. So it's like, so I would never rule it out. I would say not likely, but it's like you say. I'm not going to be that guy that gets the, they bring up a few months from now and saying, "Well, look at this horrible take," on cold takes on Twitter. So I'm not going to say it's not going to happen, but I would definitely say that it's not likely. Well, I'm happy, Garrett. That song was for you because you came in as a first-time commenter. That's because you were a first-time commenter, Garrett. So, if I said Tom, I'm sorry because I had Tom Brady on the mind.
Tom.
Yeah, I know. So I just don't see it happening. Maybe a few years ago when we got nailed for the, when we were trying to get him before he went to Tampa, maybe something like that would have been okay. But at this point, I don't even know what Brady would, I'm afraid he would come and get hurt in Miami. All these years of not getting hurt, he comes.
Well, if they did something like that, dude, the first thing you'll see is them signing veteran offensive
That
linemen.
will come on the
like,
cheap just to play for it,
oh
right?
man, they would have offensive linemen signed left and right. They would clear the cap space just to spend $10 million on just offensive linemen, and
Yeah.
you would need at least 2 or 3. I mean, would see what you could get, but I would think you would need a stout offensive line for him to come here.
Oh no, you're gonna have to build a wall around him, like because that's what he's used to. Let's face it, that's what he's
Yep.
used to in his career. His whole career, he's been blessed with a great offensive line. But anyway, we're Dolphin Talk. Only reason I wrapped Tom Brady into the Dolphin Talk was because he was at that school yesterday and it blew up Twitter. It's because the man wanted to see where his kids might go to school. You know, he was scouting out the school, but people were scouting out him. You know, so I mean, that's it. I mean, Tom Brady probably can't go anywhere without being bugged. That's why he probably has delivery to his house. He can't walk into a Publix or whatever. You know,
Right.
so people are really be going crazy.
I mean, the craziest thing that's going on out there that I could see right now with our roster is we talked about it yesterday at the end of the show. What are we going to do with the backup quarterback position, man? Like, it's kind of throwing me for a loop a little bit because I don't want to bring back Teddy. And honestly, I know they love the hell out of Skylar Thompson, but I'm not comfortable with that either.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable with him. But you have to find a mid price because Teddy, man, you can't be paying $6 million to the backup quarterback. I mean, unless you know he's really, really good. But like a Gardner Minshew, like you mentioned,
Absolutely.
a Mike White, the guy I always want to call, like the Bear. What is it, Heineke or whatever?
Yeah, the Heineke.
I always want to say Heineken, but I always mess up the man's name. But how do you say it again? The guy that was on the Commander.
Heineke.
Yeah, okay, Heineke. So it's close to it there. I don't know.
I honestly would be good. I'm fine with any 3 of those names right there, or even I'll throw 2 more out there. Brett Rippon, the former Broncos backup, and third string quarterback for the Chargers, Easton Stick. I think all of those guys are, on the market. Even former Texas quarterback. I'm not sure about Sam Ehlinger. He still might be part of the Colts roster now. So he might not be a free agent, but that would be another quarterback I'd be interested in. Younger, but still has a couple years experience.
I know Carson Wentz name's been thrown out there, but I don't know if he's a really good. I know he's very athletic still, and but he keeps on getting those chances just because of that Philadelphia run he had before he got injured. So I don't know if he's a good fit for the Dolphins system or not, but I've seen that name as well thrown out there as a possible backup.
I think he's going to want that more than Teddy Bridgewater money. I bet you.
I know that's the thing with him. That's where I don't think he would be
$10 million
in there because, like you say, I don't know. They may be happy with Skylar because McDaniel seems to love Skylar Thompson, but I think it's going to be a lot of what the budget. Because yes, like you said, we can free up money, but we also have to free up money because we don't even have running backs under contract. We got to pay Wilkins eventually, so we have to have all these things in mind and just throwing money at certain positions. And so, they may want a big time backup quarterback, but then they may realize it's not budget friendly,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I came up and played with the cap, the over the cap calculator, the salary cap, and I restructured Tyreek. I think I restructured Terron Armstead. I restructured Ogba. I made Byron Jones a post June 1st cut. I think I dropped one more player. I forgot who it was. But I freed up like almost $60 million in cap space just with that right there. Those moves right there, if you did that as the GM right now, but you'd have to obviously get them to renegotiate their contract.
Oh, no, you would have to get them. I mean, that's the one thing because people don't like Ross because they say he's a goofy owner and he says and that, but he will sign sorry, I know we gave Tyreek all this money last year and you gave him a lot of upfront money, but we need to free up more money. Can you give him more upfront money to free money down on the cap? He would do it. There's not many owners that would say, okay, so that's the one thing. I know people don't like Ross because we haven't done a lot. We haven't done any winning since Ross has been the owner, but it's not from lack of trying because at least
it's not.
He tries.
I agree. What you could do is what you just said right there. You could go to Tyreek. You could go to Armstead. You can go to Ogba. You could go to even Xavier Howard. That would be another good one. I think that's another one that I did on there to free up that money. And you go to all of those 4 of those guys, and you're like, listen, we will front end load your deal a little bit more to take some of the off the back end. and lessen that cap hit for us and make them their average annual salary not so bad for us. Or if it's going to be bad at first, it's bad up front and not bad on the back. That way we can get out when we need to get out. I think it's a smart idea. If you could free up that kind of cap space and you're ready to go into the new season, you start out with free agency, you get what you need. You get veteran stuff, what you need. You don't go out there and mess around with project stuff when you're going into this free agency. Do not do it. Do not go grab me Cedric Wilson for $9 million and do what you did with him this last season. That would really mess things up. You need veteran guys you're going to give that money to that what you're going to get out of them. That's what that money's for.
I think Notorious is trying to come in here. But let me say, I get Notorious in here, and then I'll say, good morning, Gino, if you're there.
Gino.
Good morning.
Hey.
What's cracking?
It's all good. I'm going to change my banner now so we're not blocking your little. There we go. But anyway, good morning to you. Justin, introduce our guest, and I'm going to try and find some comments I wanted to highlight.
Oh, you guys, this is my buddy right now, the Notorious JP on sports. You can follow him under that same handle there on Twitter. It's our buddy Gino. He comes in on Wednesdays and we talk football. We have us a little conversation, little round cooler talk about what's going on throughout the league and what's going on with your Aqua and Orange Dream Team. So
exactly.
that's
before we get to Gino, look, Jarrett had said this is back when we were talking about running backs and Barkley. I agree. We're both on not to bring Barkley to Miami. It's just another name that gets Dolphin fans all happy, but makes no practical sense whatsoever from a money standpoint, from a position standpoint, and all that. And then Steve chimed in, and then we get to Gio. He says he better get a backup. So that's a little shot at our Tua being out, but he misses. He's right because Tua does miss games, so they better get a backup that can win at least 4 to 5 games or more.
I think that's a pretty smart analogy on Steve's part right there.
No, it is. And now, Gino, with no further ado, welcome and happy Wednesday to you.
Happy Wednesday, my brother. Hey, Justin, thanks for the top-notch introduction. Really appreciate it. Rob, thanks for having me on here. It's always a pleasure, never a chore. I appreciate all your help with my Twitter post. That definitely is much appreciated. But so the talk is getting Saquon Barkley around here. That's everybody's flavor of the moment, huh?
I guess so, man. That's the flavor of the
Vegas,
day.
I guess, has Giants are the number 1 team for odds, but I guess Vegas says the number 2 team's the Dolphins for the best chance to land them. But I think that's just their history. They say, what team makes a splash? Oh, Ross loves to make a splash. That'd be a name that he would love or something. So maybe that's why the Dolphins, I just don't see it, why we would be the number 2 team in the odds makers view.
Well, if we're looking at a running back, if you really want a running back this year in free agency and you don't want to spend a draft pick on one, I get it. But to me, though, the running back it's important. It's very important to have one. So nobody read this wrong. The running backs have the shortest shelf lives, though. Mm-hmm. That's the problem. And I think it was mentioned by somebody listening that Saquon Barkley already has a ton of miles. He already has a significant injury. I mean, if you look at some of the running backs on the market, if I'd rather have Kareem Hunt,
bingo.
He's a proven starter. He played with Tyreek Hill in an explosive offense. He doesn't have as much wear and tear. He doesn't have as many miles on him. I'll throw a couple other ones out at you. There's the kid from that went to Texas. His name's just escaping me. It's now with the Panthers.
D'Onta Foreman.
D'Onta Foreman. I mean, you can get D'Onta Foreman for significantly less, and he has proven each of the last few seasons that if you put him in a starting role, he can more than flourish. I saw this guy play at Texas. That's my team. I said, this guy's a bowling ball. He's a damn good running back.
Great running back.
And, last couple of years, he's been given chances, and he is taking the ball. I mean, he took over for Derrick Henry and ran with it. Yeah. This year, he took over for Christian McCaffrey and looked really good. I mean, this guy could do the starting role. There's a player for the Lions. It's a free agent. It's one of their running backs. Jamal Williams. Yep, I mean, there are halfbacks available that you don't need to break the bank. And once again, that's just something we keep talking about. I know not to plug another channel here, but DDW gave a great breakdown of how we can get salary cap space up to $40 million. That's great. We still need an offensive line help. We still need a proven right tackle, if you guys believe that, or a proven right guard if you're in the let's move Hunt to tackles position. We still need I'm sorry, guys, we need help at the cornerback position. We need help. X, it seems like he's, X is not looking like X. I think,
Yeah, we touched on that too.
Yeah, I'll give you another name why we lost before Geno comes back. We lost him real quick, but he was a former Brown, D'Ernest Johnson. He's a great running back who's going to be a free agent as well.
And let's be honest, again, you've got rookie contracts that are coming up soon that we really have to start thinking about signing. So, yeah, Saquon Barkley would be amazing. He went to my alma mater, Penn State. I watched him in the Fiesta Bowl, and he single-handedly won that Fiesta Bowl for them against Washington. And I think he's a big reason for the Giants' success. But let's be careful about spending money on a halfback, that money he's going to want. I mean, they're not easy to get, but they're also a commodity that, quite frankly, could be interchangeable, expendable.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why you see Chris Greer that doesn't put attention onto the running backs like he does. And I think that's the reason why, is he believes in the philosophy, if you can get a good running back, he should be able to operate behind a good, solid offensive line. It's the offensive line you put in front of the running back that's going to make the difference. And from Chris Greer's perspective, hell, he hasn't been able to pick the offensive lineman either to go behind any running back that he's putting up there. So he's striking out on that matter. But that's why he doesn't put any stock into the running back position the way that all the fans and everybody wants him to. You got to get lucky with one of those picks. You got to be in position like the Giants were to draft a Saquon at that spot. We're not there. We did that in 2020, and you picked up Noah Igbenogany and Austin Jackson. I'm not going to talk about the Tua pick and even that one's looking bad, man. Look, we got 3 strikeouts maybe in a row right there. I mean, 1, 2, 3, you're out of here. Who knows what's going to happen?
Let's think about this too. You about talking about the quarterback position. Look at the last. I mean, I'm going to go all the way back to. We'll go back to 2006 because we can all argue Jerome Bettis was that dude. Okay, but let's look at the Super Bowl winner since 2006. You got Indianapolis, or you had let's see, 2006. We'll go back there. I got to read this right. Okay, you got Indianapolis back. They beat the Bears the next year. Who, Edgerrin James was certainly no joke, but we all know Peyton Manning was a straw that stirred that drink.
Of course.
Right.
The Giants, who was their starting running back when they beat the Patriots both times? Who was New Orleans' starting running back when they won their Super Bowl?
Deuce McAllister.
Green Bay, who was their starting? I mean, what megastar Hall of Fame running back did they have?
They didn't.
Any of New England Super Bowl winning teams, any of them, pick the halfback.
In running backs for sure.
Denver, Dillon. I mean, maybe, but I'm just my point of the matter is hell, the Rams won a Super Bowl last year with a mishmash 3-headed monster at running back. I think, you put the 3 of them together, including a guy that Miami picked up that did not even make it out of training camp.
Yep,
this
Sony
year.
Michel.
I mean, look, I'm not saying not getting a halfback isn't important, especially in this offense, but look at the 49ers. Every year they were trucking out someone different. It was a Mike Shanahan way back with Denver. It was a different 1,000-yard back every year because it's the player, it's the system, not the player.
It's the system.
That's a position you can gamble on the system with.
That's
right.
Running
back.
That's right. They took the gamble. Go ahead, Rob.
I wouldn't mind just bringing back Mozart and Wilson and then adding to the room.
Yeah, absolutely. The Niners
try to find another name that can maybe take it to another level, but they were fine in our system. They started getting a little better towards the end, and Wilson you only had for, since the trade deadline. So,
right.
And I think you can bring them back on team friendly deals probably. So,
yeah, I imagine. But the Niners situation, just think about it. They took a gamble on McCaffrey and they're making it work because they're he's hurt all the time, but we're going to make this work. And they took somebody like that and they're making it work because of the system, just like Geno just said, the system. If you have a system that's in place, it's been in place since Hector was a pup like Kyle Shanahan has, that's where Mike McDaniel came from. Then we could go make a move like that, and it makes more sense. But like Geno's saying, like everybody's saying, the running backs are interchangeable. You could find them anywhere. That's not what biggest problem is for the Miami Dolphins. The problem starts right up front with the offensive line. You want to get production? Don't go get you a guy who's a great player, but he's playing on a half a leg and he's always hurt. We always know that. We knew that before we came into the season with him. Then we were gambling on Liam to click on, gambling on Austin Jackson to at least get on the field and show me that you can do something. And you know what? Those gambles lost. Stop gambling and start going for the sure thing.
Well, let me tell you a little secret here. We talk about systems. Okay. Sorry, Rob. I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, go. I didn't have much to say.
Okay. I mean, we talk about the system. You know what? Having a quality system, who it most benefits? starting quarterback.
The quarterback.
Look at Brock Purdy. And look, I'm not going to bash Purdy. I seen
Bingo.
that boy ball out at Perry High School. Perry High School is on the Chandler School District. All right. The nearby schools, because the big players that get drafted go to Chandler High, Hamilton, Highland and Gilbert High School. Perry is the farm boy Hicks and the Sticks that are, after their college career is over, going to be working flinging hay in the fields of, Casa Grande or Queen Creek. Those that live in Phoenix don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
It's
Believe
true.
me, look them up. But Brock is a baller. But if Brock was drafted, why didn't Brock go? No, if Brock was drafted by the Houston Texans, we're having a different story. I mean,
Totally.
I've said all along, how different would Joey Harrington or David Carr's career had gone if they had been drafted by New England or Pittsburgh. And I'm not saying they would have won 6-7 Super Bowls like Tom Brady did, but would they have been the all-time big bust if they were surrounded with the talent that they had to start their career? That's why Purdy's able to flourish, and he's run with it. He's run with it. I mean,
Tom
he's
Brady
done better than
Tom
Trey
Brady
Lance
if he was drafted by some crappy team. Would Tom Brady have gone on to be Tom Brady? So you never know.
Brady would have. People forget in Tom Brady's second year, he had one into training camp needing to beat out Michael Bishop to keep his job on the New England Patriots roster. He was on the cusp of being cut, and he had one preseason game. The very last preseason game, he showed more than Bishop and kept his job. People don't remember. I mean, we all look at.
Yeah, I know. We all look at him just being the most winningest quarterback of all time, and it's just. We forget how close he was to, being placed on the practice squad and stuff like that. Is what
he didn't have those tools in college. Hell, he wasn't even the most popular guy in Michigan when he was on the team.
Nope. Drew Henson was.
Drew Henson and Bob Greasy's kid. I mean, he was like that other guy that stepped in. He I think, replaced Greasy and was holding the seat warm for Henson, who was supposed to be the star.
Yeah, it reminds me of the OSU Joe Burrow situation. It kind of reminds me of that right there.
God rest his soul, Dwayne Haskins, who, by the way, balled out in college, but, that's why, and I know there's a related player. I know you like the draft. I'll throw one name out there that people are absolutely beating up because of his numbers and his record, but why that doesn't always apply, I'll tell you in a minute. But look, it's a situation you walk into. Hero ball does not exist. You look at the four quarterbacks in this year's AFC championship game, in this week's conference championship game. All right. Jalen Hurts was on a Super Bowl winning team back in 2018, and a majority of the core was still there. I know they replaced coaches, but the majority of that core was in place from that Super Bowl team. They went out and added a wide receiver. They went out and, in fact, they upgraded the wide receiver position. Got Hill and Smith and AJ Brown.
Yep.
But most of these players were already there. Kansas City, people forget the Chiefs traded up. They were perennial playoff team.
He's right. JP's right, dude. He's cooking right now, you guys.
San Francisco, literally. I mean, do I even need to tell you how good they've been the last 4 years?
I know.
Come on.
Justin hears me talk about San Francisco all the time.
Hero ball was Burrow, and even that, they surrounded him right off the bat. They gave him his college teammate, which gave him that comfort blanket. They gave him, T. Higgins,
Joe Mixon,
Higgins, for Trevor Lawrence.
Yep.
I mean, so it's not like it was completely. The 2019 Dolphins here. It's not like it was an expansion team.
No, absolutely. Yeah, and just like our buddy Steve just said, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. Don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button. We're here bringing you aqua and orange flavor every day of the week. But man, you're cooking right now, Gino. I love it, buddy.
The 49ers, Justin has to listen to me complain about the 49ers. That organization, they just find a way to win, and it's just crazy. Because just a few years ago, Harbaugh was their coach. Kaepernick was their freaking quarterback. Things go bad there. They get to a Super Bowl, though. They both are out of the NFL for their different reasons. Here, a few years later, they're in another Super Bowl, then in another NFC championship game, now in another NFC championship game, while the Dolphins are 23 years waiting for a playoff win on the rebuild. It just drives me crazy.
It goes all to what Gino was just pointing at. It's what the quarterbacks are being put into. The systems that they come into right away that are structured. Pittsburgh, Green Bay, Kansas City, San Francisco, Baltimore even. They're structured systems that's already the winning's already in place. Like he just mentioned Philadelphia in 2018, Jalen Hurts got drafted to a team that was just coming off of winning a championship, winning a Super Bowl. They already had everything in place. That's what he's saying. I totally agree with it. He just hit a home run right out of the park, man, because that one right there is spot on. It's all about the system that they go to. Would Andrew Luck have been successful going into the Texans or to the Miami Dolphins? Probably not, because of the structure that we had. But that's why he was successful in Indianapolis. Did they win a Super Bowl? No. But he put up good numbers and had a good career. Peyton Manning did that. Think about all the guys that had good careers that, like, they've only had a couple quarterbacks over the last couple decades, bro. Like the Packers, the Steelers, like even the Colts, they were blessed with Manning, and then right from Manning to Andrew Luck. I mean, it's luck too. There's a little bit of luck that goes
there's
involved.
luck involved for sure. I mean, there's some luck that the right guy falls to you, and I mean, again, hate to go back to Tom Brady again, but look how many teams passed him over and over and over, and then New England's like, well, what's this? Draft him for a flyer, and then look what happened. So it's just sometimes luck is involved. This at the right time, because this draft process, as much as we all love the draft and eat it up. They say the first round is like a 50-50 proposition.
It is. It's a 50-50
each round after that. So
it does, bro.
Let's be honest, too. When it comes to football, I'm gonna quote a pretty well-known song here. It's 10% luck, it's 20% skill, and it's 50% concentrated will.
That's right.
That's an NFL. I mean, think about it. What if Robert? Sometimes it is luck. What if Griffin doesn't have his knee blown out in that playoff game against Seattle? I mean, we talk about him as a bust. Come on, sometimes.
Yep. Sometimes stuff happens, and unfortunately for him, he got hurt. I guess he was going to say, you fell out there, Gino, if you're still there.
You never know. Like he's saying, if that doesn't happen, maybe dude comes back and has a different career, and you're talking about him in a different light, a different sound, because maybe he went out there and won. It's a little bit of luck on these injuries things too. You sometimes you catch an injury bug.
You mentioned Andrew Luck. I mean, he had a great career, but it was short. It's just because of his injury, and he decided it was time to step away. So it's just it's just
a lot of players have done that. Like I remember when I was a kid, dude, and I was on a camping trip in the middle of the summer, and I was turned on the radio just for a minute in between lunch, and Barry Sanders announces his retirement. I was like, what the hell? Barry Sanders, he's in the peak of his prime. Like I couldn't believe it. I was fishing like, what the hell? I still couldn't believe it, man.
I know everyone kept on thinking, he's going to come back and everything, and he never did. But the Lions got that with Calvin Johnson, the receiver too, whatever.
Yeah, same thing. To see that players get wasted because of the organizations that they're getting drafted into don't seem to have the umph or the foundation built underneath them to take these players to new heights and push them to the next level. And that's what you need. That's why the foundation you have in place means everything. Oh man, I'll use this as an analogy real quick, and I know it doesn't relate to football, but it relates to coaching. The Avalanche have a head coach is Jared Bednar. He's been there for 7 seasons, while there's some other coaches in the NHL that have been around for 10 seasons, 11 seasons. But what I'm trying to get at is he's won a cup and a championship at every major level, and now the NHL. He won an AHL, an NHL championship, all those, and it all came from him staying there and Joe Sakic being like, nope, Jared's my guy, Bednar's my coach, that's my dude, I'm sticking with him. And look what happened. They ended up going and winning the cup. And the Dolphins need to do the same thing. You stick with the coach. If you really like this coach, like I told you before, take your lumps with him and let's just build around what we got. Let's not move on. I don't want to wash, rinse, and repeat no more. I'm sick of it.
Well, I hope you're right, Garrett. I hope you're right that he's encountered a lot and that he's overcome a lot, but he still has more to overcome. But anyway, back to you, Gino. You were on a roll until you fell out there.
Yeah, we got hit with the great snowstorm of 2023 up here. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be like the Buffalo Bills who complained that it was too hot in one situation, it was too snowy at home, and so the Bengals wearing white gave them a disadvantage. I just hit reset and restart. But you were bringing up a point about let's continuity is king. You're right.
Yes.
And I mean, one of these teams. I know people say the Eagles did make a coaching change here in the last few years, and they're still chugging on. Yeah, but how long was Peterson coach there? Sometimes you just need that fresh breath and hope you hit reset and get the right one. I mean,
bingo.
You look at the teams that are firing coaches every year or every other year. The Texans, back-to-back coaches that got fired in 1 year, which I'm I have a whole train of thought about that there's no time for, and nobody wants to hear it anyway. But the Browns constantly firing coaches. I mean, these teams that constantly fire coaches, it's cluster pound central. Sometimes you got to get a coach and ride the wave for a year or two and stick with it. And that's why I've said these people, let's fire McDaniel. Let's fire. What the hell are we doing here? Have we not seen enough turmoil in the coaching ranks? Coaches that don't last longer than 3 seasons, enough. I mean, let's be real. Let's sometimes, and when we've got the right coach, I'm not saying let's stick with a coach that doesn't do it. Revisionist history, easy for me to say. I screamed to the hills, get Cam Cameron the hell out of here after year 1 because he was not it. He was so in over his head as a head coach that I just didn't want to see anymore. I had seen enough. But we are prisoners of the moment, though. It's always, let's look for the shiny new toy. Let's look for the shiny new, the brand new car. Let's look for the new girlfriend every 6 weeks so we can get a new piece. I mean, we need stability. Football and any successful organization. You mentioned the Avalanche in hockey. The Penguins are that way as well. I mean, you look at the successful teams, it's not the ones that are constantly overturning their organization, front office and coaching. It's the ones that have the ones in place that have proven to get through the tough waters and came out ahead.
Yeah, the Dolphins, Norman. I lost Justin. He always falls out at the end. But I know the Dolphins are famous. We tend to go 3 years. We did have the one guy with the same first name, the Cam Cameron, that was a one and done. But the Dolphins, they just cut bait quick. After 3 years, seems to be about the window for Dolphins to keep their coaches.
Yeah,
Sean's chiming in that he thinks McDaniel cost us the playoffs. Oh, wrong one. That's him talking about the Penguins. But so he's saying that he cost us the playoffs with his clock management. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna disagree with Sean Kierdling here. All right, 1991 they changed head coaches because Bob Johnson died. I mean, that wasn't exactly a situation that they had a choice of. Badger Bob died, so that doesn't really cut. Then Stan Bowman came in there and he inherited a good team, and Stan Bowman won a Stanley Cup. They won. Their previous Stanley Cup winner was Dan Bilesma. He won 4 years between cups. They got rid of him. They brought in Mike Johnston, who was terrible. They realized that didn't work, and they brought in Mike Sullivan, who's been the head coach for the last 2 cups and stuck there ever since. He's been their head coach, even to the point where Penguins fans are completely – they're over it. They think it's time to move on. But, I mean, if anything, the Penguins are too damn patient with their head coaches at times, so they're not always changing coaches, brother. They haven't changed
I think
coaches.
you guys talking another language when you start talking hockey. I'm a Florida boy.
Yeah, man. Hockey's something like
always
that,
had good
too.
players. Yeah, you did. But, I mean, I can name a ton of teams that had good players in sports that had loaded rosters that didn't win poop. They never won anything. It's like you can have the best talent. If you don't got the Holy Trilogy, then it's not necessarily the players that win a cup. The players help. I'm not going to say they're out. The coach ain't out there playing the plays, but I mean, how many talented teams have we seen not win championships? If it was all
tons of
skill and will and not coaching.
Since you guys are talking hockey, we're a football, so I can talk baseball. The Hall of Fame voting is just like just throw it out. It's just how can you get Scott Rowland in the Hall of Fame? It's not he was never an MVP. Never led the league in any of the categories. Yeah, he was a good, solid player throughout his career, but man,
I agree.
Get into the Hall of Fame, and then you got yes, I know. They should just 1 year, they should do it called the Dirty Bunch and just throw all the players that they say are dirty into the Hall of Fame in 1 year. Get it all over.
I agree.
Get Barry Bonds in there. Get
Barry
Roger
Bonds for
Clemens,
sure, bro. Roger Clemens. Those guys should be in the Hall of Fame no matter what.
Yeah.
A-Rod, Roger Clemens,
all of them, bro.
Sammy Sosa.
Those guys are Hall of Famers.
I am so sick of this stupid, ridiculous argument.
It's redundant.
They did steroids. They took illegal methods. You know what? Go back to the history of the game and look at these guys that have cheated in any sport. If we're going to throw out everybody that took shortcuts, okay, then the Hall of Canton and the Hall of Cooperstown are going to be deader than a freaking Bills chat room after a loss.
He's right, man.
Just come on,
He's
here.
right.
All right. It's hilarious to see this high moral fabric and this moral high ground that Major League Baseball is taking when Bud Selig, who was the goddamn ringmaster of that circus, turned a blind eye when Mark McGwire was hitting massive home runs, and Sammy Sosa was hitting massive home runs. Look at Sammy Sosa's card with the White Sox and look at him with the Cubs. Look at Sosa with 2 teams. He went from looking like the guy who bags my groceries or would drive my Uber to something that came straight out of Vince McMahon's the steroid factory in the WWE. And that's guys, let me tell you a little secret. It's not because the pizza in the north side of Chicago is a little bit full of extra ingredients than it is in the south side. We all knew McGuire was a juicer. We all knew.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Everybody knew that.
Steroids don't put the bat on the ball. Steroids don't give you
still have to hit it.
Coordination. Steroids don't give you plate discipline.
Bingo.
Steroids don't give you contact skills. If anything, steroids keep you on the field a little bit longer. Does it make it go? Does the home runs? Does it possibly turn a 300-foot line drive or a 300-foot fly out to a 350-foot homer? Maybe, but you know what else does that? Diluted pitching staffs. Going from these caverns like Riverfront Stadium and Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia to where you could hit a 500-foot home run and it would go flop and go into somebody's glove to a 350 like Coors Field, like these Homer Haven freaking ballpark. Yep. That didn't play a factor. And even if steroids did, these guys saved baseball after the strike. But
Absolutely,
now we're going to put Bud Selig, who turned as big of a blind eye to anybody in the Hall of Fame, but we're going to tell Bonds and McGuire and Sosa and Rafael Palmeiro and all these stars that had
Edgar Martinez. Terrible, bro.
Exactly. Alec A-Rod. We're going to tell all these stars who were so great in the game, go piss up a post. Sorry about your luck. It's bullshit.
That's bullshit. Yeah, I agree with Gino wholeheartedly.
No, I agree. That's why I brought it up. Scott Rowland, if you look at his stat, believe me, he's a million times better than any of us would ever be, but he's a solid, great MLB player, but he's never was an MVP. None of those stats. Never led the league in any major category, but yet he's in the Hall of Fame. Wow,
bro! Barry Bonds is a 9-time MVP, bro.
Yeah, and all-time home run leader, whether you like it or not. He's the all-time home run leader.
That's my favorite baseball player of all time, bro. It's Barry Bonds. I've never seen a better player.
Right now.
Roger Clemens, as a Red Sox fan, pays me to say.
Love Roger Clemens, bro.
Roger Clemens has 7 Cy Youngs more than anyone.
See, and he's not in the Hall of Fame. What the hell kind of world we live in where someone with 7 Cy Youngs ain't in the Hall of Fame?
I know. Yeah.
Look at the numbers Bonds put up in his career. Who holds records for 95% of the hitting records out there? It's Barry Bonds.
Barry Bonds.
Yeah. The guy stole 500-plus bases in his career.
He's in the 40-40 club, bro. He's the all-time home run king. He should be in the Hall of Fame. Period. Bottom line.
And Rob, to answer your question, I'll put that back to what Sean was saying. I'll put this in baseball terms since you're not into hockey. I get it. Believe me, that's a niche. If it's all about talent and not about managing, why have the Yankees not won more World Series over the last 10 years?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Damn it, man. Like they have the most talent on paper every season, bro. Every season. But the manager can't seem to get his head out of his ass.
No. So I just figured I'd give the Yankees analysis. Why haven't the Yankees? It has to be coaching. It has to be managing, too. You've got to have the ringleader of the damn circus.
That's right, bro. You got to have someone to herd in the kittens. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's true, man. It's so true. You hit the nail right on the head.
Well, anyway, guys, sorry that we ended on baseball and hockey on a Dolphin show, but at that time of day that we're going to wrap up. I just had to get that off because I was driving in my car when they said on the radio that night that Scott Rowland.
I seen that, and I was like, Scott Rowland?
I'm a St. Louis Cardinals fan. I'm going to say that right off the bat. I am a St. Louis Cardinals fan.
I like the Cardinals.
But you know what? And I loved what Rowland did in St. Louis. His glove was great. He was a solid hitter. But this is not the Hall of Good. This is the Hall of Fame, okay? Rowland's good defensively. Okay, if we're talking defensive statistics, why the hell is Omar Vizquel not in there? I mean, come on. We cannot cherry pick here. And somebody told me, and I'm sorry to ramble on here, Bobby. I love baseball. I could talk baseball.
I love baseball, too.
Me too.
Somebody said, well, he has a domestic violence charge against him. You know what? Yeah, that makes him a scumbag of a human being. That makes him a scumbag. Okay, you want me to go through the Hall of Fame and name every scumbag that did?
You're going to name a lot of them
in their career.
Right. Yeah. Like you said, it's not the Hall of Good, but it's not also the Hall of Nice Guys. It's not the Hall of Fame for baseball.
Yeah, it's not the Hall of Jags. It's not the Hall of just another guys. It's the Hall of the best of the best.
Right. Of course, Pete Rose is a whole different thing. We don't know.
Oh, no. Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. There's no. I'm never gonna ever say something different. No.
Yeah, I know.
Joe
But I'm just saying that we don't know all of what happened. But yeah, Pete Rose. So we got the all-time hit leader,
dude.
not all-time hit leader, not in the Hall of Fame. All-time home run leader, not in the Hall of Fame, and the guy that's won the most Cy Young awards, not in the Hall of Fame.
That's a sham, bro. That's a sham.
It's crazy.
I'm sorry. That's a sham. That's not right.
It is. It's pathetic.
Yeah, we should just start our own. We could call it the other Hall of Fame, the Dirty Hall of Fame.
Oh, dude, I just think it's we're hitting it. He's
talking
right.
about Hall of Fame. Okay, there are players in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame that had underage wives. Okay,
yep.
There are players in the Hall of Fame that had domestic violence. Justin, who did you send me the jersey of? What baseball player did you send me a jersey of that baseball-wise that I have a huge affinity for?
Oh, damn it. What was it? It was
Joe DiMaggio.
Joe DiMaggio. Yeah, dude, come on. Joe DiMaggio,
beat up on Marilyn Monroe.
That's right. He's got all kinds of checkered past, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Mickey Mantle was a drunk. Babe Ruth was a drunk. I mean, come on. Ty Cobb was a scumbag. I mean, let's cut this moral fabric nonsense that we're not looking at nice guys. And I'll tell you right now, I can't stand him as a person. Him and I have gone at each other multiple times. Curt Schilling, as a baseball player, should be in the Hall of Fame. Curt Schilling's a dirtbag. He's a piece of garbage. I can't stand the man. And he wouldn't say too many nice things about me either, but, he should be in the Hall. Let's cut the baloney.
Yeah, I know. I know. That's the problem, though, in the baseball. These writers seem just have their own standard of. I hope they live as clean as all these, that they hold all their other guys up to. I hope they're all perfect little angels, all these writers that take the high ground, and that they've never taken a shortcut, never did anything in school that helped them to get a better grade that they shouldn't have done. So I hope they're all perfect. So we'll see. Anyway, guys, now that's really it. We've really ended on baseball. We got to do a baseball show one day. That was fun.
Oh, yeah, that was awesome. I love baseball.
So, all right, Gino, Justin, you guys, thank you as always.
Love you guys.
Time to roll on out of here. So, guys, thank you. And Gino, always you're welcome. Any day you want to come on here, you're welcome.
Man, any day,
you got a crazy schedule, but whenever you want to come on, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, we love having you on,
Gino. Send me a message on Twitter anytime you need somebody to run in there and run their mouth and make an ass of themselves. I'm always good for that.
I'll send you a message.
All right. Later, guys. Fins up, go Dolphins.
Fins up, go Fins.
First kick, I snap into action. When I'm digging in the trenches, get dominated off the line of scrimmage. Read and react quick to make it early diagnosis. Hit you with the quick release like Marino Danny dopeness. Explosive